So this is the Razer Strider, but this is the different color wave. They always, well, most of the time Razer comes out with different like color mouse pads, like in their white and pink version, which I think it's Mercury or something, and Quartz. I'm not exactly sure, but I know most of their mouse pads and like their mice, they have like variations of like from white to pink to like their normal standard black. And the Razer Strider was a mouse pad that I was looking to get in whenever it was first released. And I heard it was kind of like the Artisan Hien. So I'm going to be talking about the Artisan, and I'm going to be talking about this Razer one specifically, mainly, and kind of comparing both of them and the differences between them, the similarities between them. So just like the Artisan Hien, if you've ever seen my review of that one, I've always switch back and forth between the Zowie GSR, which is probably one of the slowest, muddiest mouse pads on the market. And personally, I enjoy it. I don't know why. Sometimes I just play very well with it, and other times I don't. But I think that has to do with the consistency or the inconsistency of the mouse pad itself, depending on the temperature, the humidity within like your location or your room. So yeah, I don't know. I think it differs from person to person. I've had at least 3 Zowie GSRs in the past 6 years, ever since I've been PC gaming. And I've loved the pad ever since. It's one of the unique pads that actually feels different than any other pad. Even if it's the slowest, it feels different. Like all these other mouse pads, there's kind of like a little bit faster, a little bit slower. There's just little bitty differences, you know. I think what separates a lot of other mouse pads is the durability and the quality of like how they make them and stuff and how they feel. That seems to be the main difference from a lot of them. And most of them kind of feel the same, at least the way that you personally play video games in. Like if it's an esport title, some of them are going to be a little bit faster than another, but it's never like something dramatically different. And that's sort of when I started looking into the Artisan pads, which was a couple years ago. And they were all dramatically different than the current mouse. Well, at the time, the mouse pad market that was out, everything was just kind of cloth, and all the cloth sort of felt the same. And the only unique one at the time, for me at least, was the Zowie GSR that felt different from the other ones. But I literally love how slow that mouse pad was, because I just performed better. Even in all my rank up games, I was able to go higher, whether it's Apex Legends, whether it was Fortnite, whether it was Valorant, CSGO, Overwatch, any FPS or third person shooter. I was just aiming more consistently with that pad than any other pad, even if there was a lot of times where I was just super inconsistent. And I would say that's one of the flaws of like the Artisan Hien or the Artisan Shidokai, which I don't think they make anymore. And like all these other faster pads, I mean, I've tried a whole bunch of them. And while they're fun to use, I was never consistent with them. Like I would have 1 or 2 games where I'm playing well, and then the next I'm not, because like my hand is so stiff if my sensitivity is too high. So I lowered my sensitivity, and it felt good for a while, but I still felt like I was missing a lot of shots. And with the Zowie GSR, I can play on a low sense and still aim pretty well. I can play on a high sense and still aim pretty well. You know, the flaws within the Zowie GSR is just the inconsistency of the way that the mouse pad feels, not the mouse pad itself. Like I would be okay if the mouse pad was too slow or if it was too muddy, but as long as it stayed consistent in that way, I think it would be the perfect mouse pad for me. But I've always switched between that and the Artisan. Now that I got this one and I had some time to sort of play with this one. And the main reason that I got this, because I wanted to get the black version, was because this is pink. It kind of looks kind of pink. I don't know, but we're going to go with pink. I mean, there's always different variations of pink. As you can tell, the HSK Plus is a different, like lighter pink than this one. But I think this mouse pad looks very beautiful. And personally for me, I don't know what it is about the color pink. Any light pink just is attractive to my eyes for some reason, which is one of the reasons why I wanted to get this. I mean, even one of Razer's mice that was pinkish, I wanted to get it as well, but I don't have the funds for it. And I wouldn't mind having like a semi-subtle pink like setup with like black or white tone, right? Like I don't want to overdo it with the pink, but like just a subtle hint of pink and little peripherals here and there. I think for me would be a setup that I would be okay with. So getting onto like the mouse pad, because I'm like getting away from the conversation. So the thing that's different about this pad compared to the Artisan Hien is this one feels 10 times better personally for me. A lot of people complain about the Artisan, how rough it is. And something that I've never really complained about was the roughness. It's something that I got used to, and it wasn't too bad on the Artisan one. I was perfectly okay with it, and even when I switched back and forth with the GSR, it was fine for me. But I know a lot of people complained about it. I know a lot of people didn't like the roughness of it. This one feels very smooth. It's hard to explain. Like, feels comfortable. That's all I can say. It even feels really thick because of like the way that they did the backing for this. It has like little bumps on it, but it feels very durable, to be honest. And even when you bent it, it just feels different than the Artisan one. And I personally love the way this one feels. It's not even rough at all. Like it's hard to explain it unless you touch it. It's softer than a Cordura pad, which is very rough. And it's softer than a Artisan Hien. And that was the first thing that I was kind of interested in checking out. And I was very surprised of how smooth it feels. Yeah, you can feel the little bumps a little bit. It's kind of like the Glide 38, right? But less dramatic. Like the Glide 38 or 39, well, I think they're all the same thing. It's just one is bigger than the other. You can feel the bumps in that mouse pad, but it doesn't feel bad. It doesn't feel rough. So it's sort of like that, except these are smaller bumps that you can feel the texture of it, but it's not rough on the skin. Now, the reason why it doesn't matter personally, unless you don't care about this, but the one reason that it doesn't matter what this feels like is because I would definitely not recommend playing on this mouse pad without an arm sleeve, like a fully complete arm sleeve that covers your fingers as well and your palm, like everything, a whole sleeve arm, because I feel I should have done that at the beginning, which is too late. Maybe eventually I'll get another mouse pad, but as you can see, this is from like my sweat right here, and I've tried to clean it with like water, with soap, with different things, and it just never came off. Like the scratches, I don't mind because it looks kind of white, but in between the scratches, like where I wiped it, the dirt or the sweat from my hand, from my palm, is still here, and I have not been able to take it out. And I hate the way that it looks. And even here, there's a little bit of color right here that you can see like darken from my arm. So when I'm playing, like the sweat and like just, or eating food, whatever it may be, like, but the contact of my skin touching this, it just gets the mouse pad very dirty, and you're able to notice it actually, and it doesn't look nice. Like when it comes to a black mouse pad, yeah, you can see the white if it's dirty on a mouse pad, but for some reason that never bothered me. And I don't know if it's something that I just kind of got used to, but whenever I got this beautiful mouse pad, I was like, okay, I want to keep this as clean as possible. I'm not going to eat at my desk or anything. And yet I ended up getting it dirty just by not playing with the sleeve. So that was a problem. My other problem is I wore a sleeve, but I didn't have like a full palm sleeve. It was just like to my wrist, and I ended up getting this part dirty. So if you, no matter if you sweat or you don't sweat, I would still recommend you get a full sleeve that covers everything. You know, doesn't have like, it has cutout for fingers, or you can get like ones that cover your fingers as well if you're comfortable with that. I know some people use kind of like gloves, an arm sleeve glove. I don't think I personally could do that. I would end up cutting out the finger parts so I can feel the movement and grip my mouse. But yeah, that's something that I would definitely recommend getting if you want this to look brand new, because the other sections where I don't touch, it actually looks fine. I don't know how long that's going to last though, whether dust affects it and stuff like that. I don't know, but I think that's probably the issue when it comes to getting any type of color variation of mouse pads. I mean, even the black ones do the same thing, right? And I guess I was just sort of used to that and seeing that. But I think you can make it last a lot longer, or at least look consistently bad or good overall everywhere. because this is just majorly different than like the rest of the mouse pad. So that's just from like the look quality. But if you don't care about how it looks, it feels the same as it does on top. Like it doesn't change the way that it feels or the way that my mouse glides. It's the same here as it is there. So it's definitely a good quality mouse pad. Don't know how long it's going to hold up. I haven't had it for 6 months. I've had it since the variation of this color came out, but I've hadn't had it long enough to test the durability. Now, when it comes to the speed of it, I would say it's a little bit slower, just a little bit slower than the Artisan Hien. And the Artisan Hien, I have the X soft. I've never used like medium or like the fastest. I think firm. I don't know if it's like medium, soft, and X soft. I've always used the X soft on all the Artisan pads, so I can't compare it to the other ones. But it's just a little bit slower. I don't think it's that noticeable, to be honest, but and it depends on the mouse feet. I feel like this one is affected more by mouse feet than the Artisan Hien, because I feel like the Artisan one just feels the same on any feet that you use. But on this one, like if you use glass feet, I think it's going to feel a lot faster. And I have used them. I used it on this mouse. I have mouse feet for it, and I tried it. I have ceramic feet on this one, which are my favorite that I've always used. So yeah, depending on the kind of skates that you use, you're going to get like a slower control feeling, or you're going to get like a faster glide. Now, I play very well when it comes to tack shooters or just like running gun type games like Call of Duty, DMZ, or Fortnite and stuff like that, Overwatch. And I can play very well with the Zowie GSR. These are the only two pads that I can play with, and the Artisan Hien. But this is going to be replacing my Artisan one because I just like the color of it. It's available more. And yeah, I just wish, I guess it's impossible to keep everything clean, right? I'm not going to be buying a mouse pad just for the looks of it every time that it gets dirty. But it's understandable, right? I wish that it could be clean. Like I wish there was just a mouse pad that you can be super rough, put it in the machine, dry it, and it just comes out looking as clean as your clothes, right? Something like that needs to be made already. That way our mouse pads still feel the same as when we got them, but also look the same, right? Like we want our setups to look clean. And I don't know, it's just kind of like upsetting. Sometimes you get something that looks very pretty, very nice, and but some people are cleaner than others, right? Like, especially if you have the money to have like these air purifiers and dust collectors and stuff, and you clean your hands every time you're eating, every time like you're going out of your room to touch something and you come back, or you have hand sanitizer right next to your desk, maybe you won't have this issue, right? But like I said, if you wear a sleeve, I think it sort of would make this last a lot longer in the terms of how it looks. But I still wish there was a pad that you can just wash in it completely, like with any type of soap, and it'll keep the consistency of a pad while still looking brand new. I think that would sell very well if it's a good material and something that people like using. And these are the only two pads that I can use, like I said. So overall, I think it's very fun. I think it's doable to use on tack shooters. Like I said, I'm still barely like Plat 2 right now on Valorant. So, but I've always been Plat 2 for like the past 2 acts. So that's not saying much. I'm not like good at video games or anything, just average. So yeah, I think you should definitely check this out. It's more available than the Artisan. It's easier to get. It's from Razer. I like the way that it looks. I like the way that it feels. I don't know if it's any different than the black version. Like I've heard some people say that the black version is way faster. So if you want to try that out, maybe get the black version, and if you want more speed. But this one feels very like in the middle. Like I said, and the Artisan Hien was a pad that I could play any FPS game, even tack shooters. And this is the same pad that I can do that. But it's all going to be preference depending on what type of play style you mainly utilize in games, what type of games you play, and what type of like feel you like in a mouse pad, right? Because some people love that nice smooth glide. Some people like that control. Some people like the aesthetics of a mouse pad. Some people like it to be a full desk mat. I don't think they have a full desk mat of this color variation, so that can be a negative for someone. So yeah, there's just a lot of different things, and the perspectives are going to be different depending on what you're looking for. But I have no reason to get another mouse pad. Like these are my two main, this one and the Zowie GSR. there's no reason for me to get another one unless Zowie comes up with an updated version of their Zowie GSR, which they don't make it faster, and hopefully it's still controlled, just more durable. I've heard that's a thing that they're working on. I'm not sure if it's confirmed or not. I'll probably end up getting that just to check it out. And maybe if Razer ever comes up with a bigger version of this, maybe I'll get it. I don't know. But this is the perfect size for me. It's not even on my low sensitivity that I play on. So anyways, if you have any questions, leave them down below. I'll try to answer them when I read it. So yeah, I think it's definitely worth it. One of my favorites now. So anyways, just wanted to give a little bit of update to this mouse pad, the Razer Strider. So yeah, have a lovely rest of your day or night whenever you're watching. And I'll talk to you in the next one.